a lot of your decision making, do you run into conflict? You will run into conflict, trust me. Because of, again, people are going to come in, even though you just learned this process, people are still going to come in and they're going to have the answer or what they want to do. And how does conflict usually get resolved? Pardon me? Deliberation. Deliberation, we hope. Deliberation. Sometimes it's the person who has the most authority. Sometimes it's, God bless you, the person who has the most expertise. Well, what you're going to have to do is, in a sense, become equals. So there will be disagreements. There will be disputes. And when we think about conflict, what is it? Conflict is differences, disagreements, disputes, but it's all based on threat. It's all typically based on some personal threat. And therefore, that's how we respond to it. Why? Because something is violating our safety, our security, perhaps our relationships, or the respect and value. And I think this is one of the biggest ones. And it ties so much emotion to it because of the fact we look at it and we say, why can't we get past this? How many times have you said that? Why can't we get past this? All of us have. So how do you get past it? Typically, you need some empathy, but very often it's how your emotions, how you're handling your emotions. And it's easy to say be calm, non-defensive, respectful of the other person, seek compromise, and then face the conflict head on. I'm going to share with you in a few minutes the typical behaviors we have in conflict because I want you to recognize them when they're happening so that you can get yourself to the place where you collaborate. That's the only way good decision makers can get good results is through collaboration. Very seldom are we islands anymore where it's just us. So what I want you to do is I want each of you to look just at the bottom scenario and I want you to talk. Not yet. I want you to talk to each other about what should we do? What should we do? I'm going to give you, I think on there it says 8 minutes. So from the time you get it, read and start talking to people you're right next to, okay? All right, what would you do? Who wants to volunteer what they would do? Yes. Okay, so first you're going to have a procedure, how we're going to communicate, but you're working towards collaboration. Okay? Who else? What would you do? You're on the bus and this is happening. Ah, back it up?
Yeah, because everyone's in the thick of it and you need to like get off of it and then you can talk about the other thing that's already there.
Okay. What happens when emotions get involved? Do we stop listening? Yeah. We sure do. It's called emotional deaf spots. You go deaf because the emotions have risen so high that you can't hear and listen at the same time, right? So what I want to do is, again, my handy helper Ian is going to pass out a card that's going to have the process, as the gentleman back there said, a process that really looks at what can we do when this conflict arises. And mind you, it's typically going to happen about day 2 of the bus. You're hot, you're tired, you're trying to come up with solutions, there's a little bit of disagreement going on, and emotions are riding high. I hope somebody has the sense to say, hey, wait a minute, let's back it up and look at this. Okay, what is the process for conflict resolution? The very first thing is clarification, because very often our filters have changed our perception. We might be hearing something completely different than what is being said. So clarify that disagreement. Establish a common goal. Look, why are we here? We're all here for the same reason. Okay? We all want to win. Okay? Discuss different ways that you can resolve this. What would be a way that we can get back on the same track? Okay? Determine what would keep you from being able to get back on the right track. I don't really buy your idea. Well, tell me why. What evidence do you have my idea isn't any good? And I'll listen. As well as tell me why your idea might be better. What evidence do you have? Remember that question, what evidence do you have? And then agree on the best solution. But not only do you agree, you own it. Each person or every part of the team has to own it. But I want you to think about what are the behaviors that you're going to be living with. Some people will accommodate. Oh, okay, just go ahead, do what you want to do. How valuable is that? No, they're checking out. Some people will avoid. Oh my gosh, it sounds like they're raising their voice. Somebody's raising their voice. I will avoid it. No, remember, in conflict, you have to be willing to face it. Managing conflict makes you a far better team than avoiding it. It makes you stronger, truly. Collaborate, as you said. That's where you want to get to, collaboration. Some people will want to compete, and that's a win-lose. I want to win, well, then you're going to have to lose. That doesn't pay off for anybody. And then compromise. Just remember, if you choose compromise, you're both giving something up, okay? Versus collaborating and owning that solution. So acknowledge what you've agreed to, own it, and move on. Don't harbor it. Because if somebody raises something and said, well, you know, on Monday, you hit it head on. Don't allow it to fester. Because at that point, you don't even know what you're arguing about. Okay? All right. Conflict resolution. Use that card in that process. Okay? Good.
All right, everybody. Give a round of applause.